Hello student, I am Shalini Murmu, Contextual Assistant Professor from Ghatshila College, and I teach zoology. In this lecture, I'll discuss about the topic which comes under the syllabus of semester 3, and it is the paper 6, endocrinology. And in this, we will discuss about pituitary gland. So pituitary gland, as you can see in the diagram, it is situated near the brain and just below the floor of the brain. Pituitary gland is very tiny gland. Its weight is about 0.5 to 1 gram, and it is popularly known as the master gland. Why it is called master gland? Because it controls all other endocrine glands in the body. So let's see its structure. Pituitary gland is composed of two lobes, the anterior lobe and posterior lobe, as you can see in the diagram. The anterior pituitary is known as the adenohypophysis, and the posterior pituitary is known as the neurohypophysis. Anterior pituitary is again divided into two parts. This part is called pars distalis, and this part is called pars tuberalis. And the neurohypophysis, you can also say it pars narosa. Now we see the origin of the pituitary gland, how it's originate. So if you see this diagram, you can see that it is the oral ectoderm. During the development, there is a inward invagination of the oral ectoderm, and the floor of the diencephalon, that is part of the brain, that also invaginate ventrally. So you can see this in this diagram. So what happens next is that this invagination of the oral ectoderm is called a Rathke's pouch. It forms a pouch like a structure, Rathke's pouch. So what happens next is that the Rathke's pouch breaks off and it unites with this infundibulum to form the pituitary gland complex. Okay, so now let's see some more points about this structure. If we see as a section of the pituitary gland, we can see that one more thing is that this pituitary gland is situated in a depression called sella turcica. Sella turcica of the sphenoid bone. This depression, you can see, it is called sella turcica. So it is situated in this depression. Next we will see the vascular connection. The pituitary gland gets the blood supply from the superior hypophyseal artery. You can see this, and this innervates towards the hypothalamus also and pituitary stalk also. And as you can see, there are connections between the hypothalamus and the pituitary. So one more thing about pituitary gland is that the hypothalamus as connected to the pituitary. So when the brain gets some signals from the body, it communicates through hypothalamus to the pituitary, and in this way it sends a message to the pituitary, and pituitary in turn release hormones to affect the function of other endocrine gland. So the system through which the hypothalamus is connected to the pituitary, specifically anterior pituitary, it is called as hypophyseal portal system. So what is hypophyseal portal system? It is a system of capillary tiny blood vessels which run from hypothalamus to the pituitary, and through this capillary system the hypothalamus release some hormones as well which affect the pituitary gland. The posterior pituitary, in case of posterior pituitary, it also gets message from the hypothalamus, but the hypothalamus sends the signal through the nerves. You can see here in the hypothalamus there are nerve cell bodies, there are neurons, and whose cell body you can see, and through these neurons the hypothalamus connect to the posterior pituitary. And one more thing about the posterior pituitary is that it also releases hormones like the anterior pituitary, but the hormones that are released from the posterior pituitary are not produced in the posterior pituitary, rather they are produced in the hypothalamus. And the posterior pituitary store those hormones that are produced by the hypothalamus, and when they get the signal they release these hormones. So in next class we will discuss about the hormones, what different types of hormones that are produced by the pituitary gland. Let us discuss some more point about the pituitary gland and its structure, related to its structure. The posterior pituitary gets the separate blood supply from the inferior hypophyseal artery. Like the anterior pituitary, you can see that it gets supply from the superior hypophyseal artery. And about the size of the pituitary gland, one more point, that during the pregnancy the size of the pituitary gland slightly increases in females. So we will continue this topic in next video. So till then, bye.